Amazing. All right.
Hold on. This is the recording for Town Hall 5/11, 2022.
When we're synced, we're one. Okay, so let's talk about sync. Talk about, well, first, we just want to address the fact that um, we know the market's down and people are losing money, and we don't want to not be present to that or not address the fact that that's happening. Um, so, with that said, we just, again, sticking together as we weather this financial storm, just like we stuck together across all the other storms that we've had over the last 3 years, um, is in our best interest, which is why when we're synced, we're one is the theme of today. No surprise there. Um, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so I know we're optimistic as a team, and yeah, we're just happy to have people here that support, the project and what we're building and see the vision. Um, yeah, I think even to say about that is like sometimes we can only see what's in front of us, the circumstance or whatever, and that can be enough to like stop us from moving forward with anything else. And what it has taken from me is to see beyond what I cannot see in front of me in order to keep going. Because if I took, for example, the shutdown at face value as a final thing that would, I guess, make or break my own existence, then I probably wouldn't be here. I know that I wouldn't be here because I would have done something different. And so every time, you know, I've been confronted with something that was beyond my control, something that devastating that could potentially, you know, make what I wanted for my life and what I wanted for the community that I've built and possible, you know, make it feel not possible, then I would have stopped and I would have given up and I would have gone and done something else. But haven't done it yet and will not do it this time either. And I know that's what's so interesting about when we think about some of those other some projects and some other people in the space. When you think about rug pulling, I think that comes from not being dedicated. It comes from maybe there not being a certain level of passion around whatever it is they're creating. That, oh, well, I'll just go and start something else new. Maybe I'll learn what I did from what I did and do it better but with something completely different, rather than iterating within what it is that's already been created. Um, Especially if no one's gonna know that you did it, I guess. Which is the challenge of not having a doxed team, which we do. So you can look at my long history of experiences in different companies and businesses, um, and so I think that can be helpful when it comes to instilling trust in certain projects and certain founders, as they're building, and we're all building together transparently. And this is something that, whether I was in Web3 or not, I would still be writing these books. So the NFT project does not dictate how far Lost Children of Andromeda goes, but it does help it go places. Um, but I'm going to write the books regardless, um, which means that everything that we're doing here is like a beautiful bonus, a beautiful add-on. It supports the best version of this project, best version of the series, um, and yeah, and so that's why we're doing it's the best version, both from a perspective of what the community gets to experience and be part of, and how well the books will flourish with a village helping make it. So let's imagine, like, okay, if you're raising a baby and there's just one parent versus one parent with multiple caretakers is very different. So um, that's what we're creating here in this project. Um, anyone have anything else on that? Nope.
Nope, sounds good. Thank you, Jason.
Cool. All right. So when we're synced, we're one. First
Mm.
thing we want to talk about is the passport minting. So the way passport minting is going to work is that we are going to allow, passports to be minted up until a certain point, and once the passports have run out, which we expect to happen soon, um, we will uh, we will basically it'll cut off. You won't be able to mint anymore. So the only place you'll be able to get passports are on the secondary market. Um, the key thing about passports to remember is that passports they are mint pass, and having a passport puts you on the allow list for the first drop, which is called sync. Now, sync we'll talk about a little bit more later, but fundamentally, the passport and the sync communicate with each other on the blockchain to pass information about your identity that makes the passport yours, and the passport it's that the passport that is synced that is I'm trying to figure out how to say this. The passport that the sync is synced to will have information that shows you that like those two things are connected. So from a gamification perspective, when you mint a sync, you're going to get information from the sync that's going to end up on the passport metadata, the invisible metadata, not the actual face of it. But so it's cool in that way. So it's important to keep your passport because number one, you can't mint sync without a passport, and number two, if you're if you're selling your passport, you can't sell a passport that has already been synced because it won't be able to be used. Um, so there's some certain things that the sync will fill in. The sync ID is one of them, which is a unique numerical figure, alphanumerical figure for each individual person who is synced. Um, the sanctuary is going to be generated um, by where it's issued from. Um, and so those are some of the things that will show up on the passport metadata after you mint your sync. We did a really fun walkthrough of the experience this morning, and I'm very excited to see how people take to it. It'll be really fun. It's gonna be really fun, and we'll probably in the next couple of weeks start to show you, some of the behind the scenes and things like that. Some pictures. We did a leak today for the first sync in the collection, so we'll talk about that. Talked about why the password is important for sync minting. What is the sync prototype? The sync prototype is the first version of this technology that was created by Dr. Quentin Bordeaux, who you met in Paris 2030 and experienced again in the aftermath. And I think he's been showing you some stuff in the lab since you decided to stick around. Dr. Bordeaux invents the first version of this technology and distributes it to those who survive the aftermath as a test. So, being that it's an early model, it has early data from the beginning of the end, and it has more information from different sources than the later versions do. So, what that means is it has advantages around information about artifacts, rarer artifacts, has access to data sets that are no longer available. So having a sync prototype will get you access to certain information and access to certain later phases because there are only 1,111 of these and there will not be more. These are the Genesis sync collection. So there's certain things like that, and it follows the lore of the story, which is that the original sinks are not as technologically advanced necessarily. They are very near advanced than what we have now, but they're not as technologically advanced. But they do also afford some other benefits. And so the sync is in collections, is separated into collections. Um, there are 4 collections that vary by kind of type and style and materials and textures, like any physical product. Um, we'll reveal those this week. You've seen the first one, which is Cosmic. Most of the Cosmic collection will be materials that we may or may not find on Earth. Some maybe strange colors, some strange textures, possibly energy, things like that. So they're super cool. Um, yeah, so that's Cosmic, and we'll start to tease out the other ones over the course of the week through leaks. So you'll get to see those as they come out. Um, and then in terms of variation, we have both, physical, like visible metadata variation, and we also have invisible metadata variation. So like physical metadata, visible metadata variations are things like any enhancements, on the device, the strap color and texture, the things on the face, what's kind of showing up um, in terms of data in the holograms. And then some of the invisible metadata, again, the sync ID that writes back to the passport, the manufacturing ID, where it was made, what year it was issued, what number it is out of the 1,111. And then, yeah, so, and there's some other things as well. So, yeah, that's like an overview of sync. Um, they will What we've released so far have been still images of the device, but that's not the final. So we'll be releasing more visuals and then more animated visuals down the line. So, does anyone, JP5, you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions actually. No, not at the moment. Quite a lot to take in. Just absorbing it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just baseline. Sync is the next frontier. Sync is the technology to end the age of disconnection, which is to bring humanity back together with a singular device that has integrity around data and information, and really, you know, speaks the message like when we're synced, we're one, which is what we need to brave what's next. So yeah, that's sync. Thank you. I want to hear, Kendra. I want to hear where you are on the. Have you been reading?
Yes, I've been reading. I just
Are
had
you?
some time in the desert to read, but not as much as I had hoped. I am at a very critical point. We learned something. JP5, I know that you're just being introduced to this whole world, so welcome, and it's a lot to take in. But 2052 Discord is all kind of wrapped around the lore of the Lost Children of Andromeda and this novel that will be a series. And one of the main characters is Alistair, and you're just following his progression of a backstory from before 2052, but really the whole novel takes place in 2052, and you just learn about how you get to the point of the apocalypse, which is supposed to happen that year at some point in that year. And you kind of start from this point of 215 days left until the end of the world and everything that comes with that. So just at this interesting place where Alistair is learning a lot about his mom, and there's all these elements of having this evolutionary power that is being discovered in certain characters and people in that world, in this world. And Yeah, I mean, if I can't really say too much. We have people come into this Discord and pick their, position, and so one of them is C20, and C20 kind of is coming into play in a big way right now. The Andromeda project has kind of been taken over a bit, without saying too much, and we haven't found out what the evolutionary underground is yet, but so far it's just the Andromeda project that is full of these evolutionaries and then also the C20. So they're both have these different perspectives on what it means to survive or save people from the end of the world. And so it's just ironic because 'cause they're fighting against each other. So we're learning all about that, and that's kind of what's happening right now in the novel, which is super fun to read, and I want a lot more time, but I also love being a part of this project, which is taking a lot of my precious time that I love to give. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, JP5 chose temporal, which is ironic.
That's what
Um,
I chose.
he chose the Andromeda Project, which is also hilarious considering what considering the nature of the Andromeda Project. Um, so yeah, it's cool when you kind of dive into the series itself and you see how your choices in the Discord will end up being part of the later experience because things like the Andromeda Project, things like C20, things like the Evolutionary Underground are still being developed, and there's a potential for you as a character to be part of that in the future. So, um, yeah, it's great that you explained all of that way, Kendra.
Glad to help. I think, JP5, we're so glad you're here. Bree's here with us too. She works on our team, and this week has just been so interesting with, everything that's going on. I feel like it's affecting people's availability and mood, and we just are glad everyone is here and able to support each other and have a community that supports one another and a positive outlook for the future. So we're still excited and I'm glad everyone is a part of what's happening here.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's a bit surreal. Like I've not been in that town hall before. I'm kind of
Yeah.
I suppose only non-mod or non-team member. But yeah, it all sounds good, and I'm sure you're right. There's a lot of uncertainty, and people have probably yeah got lots on their mind at the moment. So understandable, but there's not a huge number of people here.
Thanks for
So
the
interesting. It's such a
yeah,
huge Twitter spaces yesterday.
I know. I
Yeah,
think that one thing we're thinking about, JP, and you said you're in London or England. Is that where you are?
Yeah, yeah,
So I know it's a lot later there, so I think that might try varying times so people in different parts of the world can join if they aren't able to join other ones, and then also obviously recording it. But it is surreal today. It's different. What are you gonna say, Jason?
oh, that would be pretty late. If we did it later, it would be pretty late UK time.
Yeah, later or earlier, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Earlier might be interesting. Earlier might be interesting. Like 10 or 11 would be yeah, it would be interesting. I kind of know Asia time because of some of the artists, but it's interesting to figure out. And then really it comes down to what's going on. What do people want to hear? If everyone's like looking at watching the charts and talking about that, then that's where people are. Um, but yeah, we just wanted to give some information and updates around the passport and sync, and just acknowledge what's happening, and just thank everyone for being here. And yeah, and we can close it up. It'll be really tight. It's almost like a podcast episode. Um, Keep it really tight, and then send that out tomorrow's announcement so that people can catch up. So,
Yeah, and then we'll award passport eligibility for everyone that is here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I was expecting to come here and have to raffle it, as you said, against like hundreds of other people. So yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you. Yeah.
Meant to be. I think Sasha wants to speak as well. If you want to unmute him. Thank
Yeah.
you, Ty.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah, we actually haven't given out a lot of the passport eligibility role yet. AP5, so we reserved a lot for these certain like town halls and stuff like that, and a lot for the game. Um, a lot for people who play the games and things like that. So yeah.
Asking for like, how do we get passport eligibility? How do I do this? How do I do that? And it's like, we tell you, all you got to do is show up.
Yeah, absolutely. Sasha still can't speak.
Back. Hey guys.
Hey.
Well,
So, JP, where in London are you? I used to live in London for years. I'm just curious.
Sorry, say that again. I missed it.
I said I used to live in London for years. I had a flat in Wimbledon Village, and bounced around Kensington too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm
Do you live in London, or are you in the UK?
a bit further out, like closer to the borders of Surrey. So near, do you know Croydon or Sutton?
Okay.
Those kind of places.
Yeah, for sure. Nice.
Yeah, around that kind of way.
What do you do out there? What's your day job when you're not in Web3 NFT discords with us?
I work in IT, software development. Yes, I do. Business
Nice.
analysis kind of stuff. Yeah.
oh, wow, that's cool.
Mhm.
I used
Yeah,
to do
it's-
marketing for an IT company, which was cool because I knew nothing about IT until I had to market it, which is fascinating.
I love how that works. We're probably very similar, Kendra. When I worked for an AI company, I was like, what is this? Shahar had to tell me how it all worked.
Oh, is that how you met Shahar?
Yeah, he was a software developer for an AI. He was one of many software developers for this artificial intelligence. We were trying to make contextual, meaning it would be able to converse with the user. But the resources required to build something like that was far beyond what we had. But it was a great vision, like a great dream. But it just the way when you don't have the development teams to actually build the brain of it, I learned that you have to rely on someone else's brain to bring you the information, and that can take a lot of time. From a user perspective, that's actually terrible. So it was
That's
super
fair.
interesting. Yeah.
That's right. Oh, let me go over the upcoming
Sure,
events real quick so I can end the recording and let you guys know what we have going on. So tomorrow at 1300, we have diversity, equity, and inclusion with @KittyCat. That will be over on the LCOA Twitter space. All of these are accessible in our events tab here in the Discord, by the way. Saturday, May 14th at 1600. These are all PT time. Lore Master Roundtable hosted by Freedom. Saturday, May 14th at 1800. Discord 101 with yours truly, me, Sink Shi. Saturday, May 14th, right after the Discord 101, we are having a live book reading with Jason Primrose at 1900 PT. So there's lots of events coming up, you guys, that are accessible in the events tab at the top left of the Discord. You can show interest. You could RSVP, and yeah, that information is there for you guys, and we keep it up to date. Any closing
Absolutely.
remarks?
Please use times that are not military, because I do not. My brain can't compute.
You realize only America doesn't use it. Like everyone else who's not from here and probably who are in the military use it. Like Asia, Spanish countries, a lot of them use it.
Yeah. Americans, we can't figure it out. I mean, look, time where I don't even know. Time is just a countdown for me. It's a countdown.
Always.
So it's funny because in the book, time starts from the 24th hour and goes backward. It counts down. So there are 23 hours left in the day. That's how we would calculate. That's how we would talk about time. Like, oh, the event is like, for example, the town hall walkthrough is 6 hours before the lost day, before we lose another day. So 6 hours from the day that comes after. So if it was day 214, if it was on day 215, it would be 6 hours from day 214. That's how they talk about time. 3 hours from day 214, 1 hour from day 214, 3 minutes from day 214, and then we're on day 214, and 23 hours from day 213.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's imagine writing that, figure out where all it's when everything was happening.
Well, when you guys look at it, the events show in your own time zone at your time, so it should be fine. The time in the events tab are shown in your time. So if you have any issues with the time zone appearing there, you might need to go to your Discord settings and mess around with that. But the times in the events tab here in this Discord will show you the event at the time and date in your time zone.
That's perfect.
Alrighty then, so I guess this is us signing off from the LCOA team. Any closing remarks from Evolutionary One?
Just thank you. That's all.
All right, thank you everybody.
Thank you.